this is episode 64, part 3 of Kenya's premier sports video podcast, the Three Quarters podcast. As usual, we'd like to remind you to jump onto the hashtag Road to Japan to support the Kenya Simbas as they are still looking to qualify for the Rugby World Cup in 2019 in Japan. I'm Tamima Duffield.
And I'm Ngaro Kamuya.
So everything other than rugby, we start off with the Australian Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Flags off 2018 season.
Yeah.
And 1 and 2, Vettel, Hamilton. That's what
Yes, the Australian Grand Prix flagging off, as you said, the 2018 Formula One season. It was a very interesting race. Hamilton was in control until it's called a virtual safety car, which restricts the speed at which the people on the track, the racers on the track or the drivers on the track, it restricts the pace at which you can drive. So when the virtual safety car came into play, Sebastian Vettel was actually in the pit.
So like a speed governor.
Yeah.
So I just had to throw that in there. Okay.
Just to make it easy. Yeah. So there's normally a safety car, like when it starts raining. Then there's a virtual safety car if you have some incidences. So Sebastian Vettel was in the pit, and when he came out of the pit, he was ahead of Hamilton, and because Hamilton could not, he had to drive at a restricted pace. So, and the virtual safety car does not affect those ones in the pit. So you could actually hear Hamilton communicating with his team, the Mercedes team, and asking them, look guys, how come you didn't tell me that Vettel was in the pit? I would have known how to handle it. So Vettel, came out in front of Hamilton and stuck to it until the end. Yeah. So as you see, Sebastian Vettel finishing number 1, Lewis Hamilton finishing number 2, and Kimi Raikkonen finishing 3rd. I think it's going to be another year. I think it's going to be a Vettel Hamilton, Ferrari, Mercedes battle for the 2018 Formula One season. But it's a good way to start the Formula One season, I think.
I can imagine that conversation.
Yeah.
Guys, how? Why?
And Hamilton is very emotional.
Oh.
Yeah, so some choice words were used. But yeah, he's very emotional, and he's asking, was it my mistake or your mistake? And valid question.
Yeah, very valid.
But unfortunate for him, he was unable to claw back and pip Sebastian Vettel for the first title of the year.
Well,
yeah.
So moving on to Boris Johnson.
Yeah. Sports and politics. Huh?
Yes, Yeah. So,
Yeah.
For people who don't know who that is, that's the UK Foreign Secretary.
Yeah.
So he stated that he believes that Vladimir. Wow, Putin. He couldn't be called anyway. Intends to use this year's Summer World Cup, the way Adolf Hitler used the 1936 Summer Olympics to sanitize his image. Do you think that's true, or is that just him sort of lashing out? And
I think it's funny how sports is in everything, because I think this is politics, diplomacy, kind of war. As you said, Boris Johnson is the foreign secretary for the UK. I don't see how the two relate. To Adolf Hitler and Vladimir Putin, I understand there are issues happening in Russia, but you want to compare them to the issues that are happening in Germany or what Adolf Hitler was doing in the 30s? No, I don't think so. I think Boris Johnson is being a bit too dramatic. I just think the 2018 election and the 2022 election have been marred with a lot of scandal. This bidding rights or hosting rights were given out at the time when Sepp Blatter was the president of FIFA, and Sepp Blatter has been banned from football because of the corrupt practices that happened in FIFA during his time. So Russia is facing that, Qatar is facing that. Not too many people are enthusiastic about the two next World Cups, especially taking into account the fact that the other people who had bid in the 2018 and 2022 for the 2018 and 2022 Olympics, Football World Cup, not Olympics, were solid candidates. So Russia and Qatar, not really. So I think it's more of, there's no hype around the Russia World Cup. I think just Boris Johnson is pushing this sports thing and the diplomacy wars. But look, the way I look at it, from my perspective, Russia has hosted the 2013 Rugby Sevens World Cup. They've also hosted the 2013 World Championships, IAAF World Championships. Both times, Vladimir Putin was the president, and they were able to hold successful tournaments. I don't think this is just politics. I don't think it's going to be a problem. But I do know, at least in England, only 24,000 people have purchased tickets, which is unlike England, because England, the English, football is a religion in England.
Yeah.
I have seen how these guys move for the British and Irish Lions tour in rugby. I can imagine how they move for football. So 24,000 is quite a low number. But look, we have what now, 3 months or 4 months until the World Cup. So we just wait and see if Boris Johnson is right, which I don't think he is.
I'd be mad though if I was Putin. I saw a poster on the internet, and it was Adolf Putin.
Wow.
I would be so mad.
I mean, Putin has been compared to so many people.
Yeah.
But I like he's very interested in sports, and that's a good thing. So I don't know what's happening in Russia. From what I've read, you cannot compare Vladimir Putin to Adolf Hitler and the 1936 Olympics to what's going to be happening later on this year.
I hope not.
Yeah.
So then we move on to golf. We had the 2018 or 2018 Kenya Open Golf Tournament.
Yeah.
Where the prize for a hole-in-one is a Mercedes.
Yeah.
I need to start playing golf.
Have you seen that car? Like, no one has won it, but like,
well, not yet.
No one won it, but yeah, I mean, the 2018 Kenya Open has been happening since Thursday. I think all the Kenyan guys didn't make the cut. I'm not too sure, but I've been talking to the people who are there watching, and they're like, the Kenyan guys haven't performed too well. In the end, Lorenzo Gagli of Italy's on, who's won the Kenya Open, is going to be going home with $100,000, which is about 10 million shillings. And the government of Kenya has committed to sponsoring to increasing that prize money. Therefore, starting next year, we become a part of the European tour. That's the Kenya Open.
Yeah.
You see what happened when you run. You see what happens when you run sports like a business, and that's what the Kenya Open has done. So everyone is there. Everyone or was there, and it's definitely a return on investment. So as I'm saying, Lorenzo Gagli has won, but I'm thinking about the competition as a whole. And the way they've been able to work it out. So kudos to the Kenya Golf Limited, the company that runs the Kenya Open.
Yeah, and for anyone who wants to hear any more, find Eric Njuru of Raga House. As I understand, he has been there.
He has been there, yeah. Yes. That's what he told us.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Go ahead.
So we move on to the bonus topic, where it's legal, compliance, and regulatory affairs, basically.
Yeah.
So the question is, do sporting organizations in Kenya know what is required of them to be fully compliant with the Sports Act? Of 2013, yes.
This was sparked by my attendance of the Kenya Rugby Union elections, because the Registrar of Sports was there. First, the Registrar of Sports under the Act is an appointee of the government, is an appointee of the Public Service Commission. So she was there, and she talked about teams being compliant. And she said that about, I think, only 10 rugby teams are compliant with the Sports Act of 2013. And she had the powers to shut down that AGM, because in all honesty, you're not recognized by the Registrar of Sports. Who are you? Yeah. So even if you're not recognized as a sports organization, how do you participate in an election? The union is compliant, but you see, that's the union.
Yeah.
There's a sports federation and there's a sports organization. Kenya Harlequins is a sports organization. Kenya Rugby Union is a federation. Therefore, all sports organizations under Section 49 and Section 50 of the Sports Act need to be registered with this Register of Sports. You see, the trick here is that, like, for example, Queens, Kenya Harlequins, registered a long time ago under the Societies Act. So there's supposed to be some transition from the Societies Act to the Sports Act. And you're supposed to reapply, or reapply to the Register of Sports. That has not happened in very many clubs. And you know what was shocking, Damima, is the kawaida manner in which the delegates carried that. They did not think it was important. They did not think that what the registrar raised pertinent issues, because in my eyes she did raise pertinent issues. So we went ahead with the elections, and the elections happened. But as I've said, the question I put out there is, before I put out the question, I say, in rugby's case, the Kenya Rugby Union should have been the one to issue circulars, at least to each and every club, and notify them that they need to be registered with the Registrar of Sports. Alternatively, these organizations should be having legal/compliance guys to be notifying them of such things when they come into play. But the question I put out there is, I mean, how many guys know that you're required to register with the Registrar of Sports? As we speak, I've told you about 10 teams in rugby. Out of all the teams, have been registered with the Registrar of Sports. And I'm just thinking about it. I mean, people can challenge that election that happened on Tuesday because you didn't have quorum. I mean, for all intents and purposes, the way I look at it, you didn't have quorum. You didn't have guys. These guys are not recognized by the Registrar of Sports. Therefore, they cannot be part of your affiliation. Therefore, I'm sorry, they cannot be affiliates of the Kenya Rugby Union. Therefore, they should not be participating in this election. So, and the question out there is, I mean, do you know that you're supposed to register? If you're registering afresh, do you know you're supposed to register with the Registrar of Sports? And number two, for the existing organizations that were registered under the Societies Act, I think CAP 108 Societies Act, do you know that there are mechanisms for transition to register your organization with the Registrar of Sports? And you need to do that. This needed to be done within a year of the commencement of the Act. That was 2014. But then there were some rules that were passed, and the compliance period was 2017. How many people have actually done that? I've told you in rugby they're like 10. So I can imagine how other organizations have. So look, guys, you need to be chonjo. Guys need to know what they're required to do from a compliance perspective, because she has the power to shut you down. Yeah, she has the power to shut you down. Yeah, so that's where we're coming from. I mean, some people don't know about it, and they need to know about it.
Yeah, I've always thought, okay, well, rugby initially was played by very smart people. And there's still smart people who are in rugby. For anyone who understood that legal jargon that he just went through. Lawyers out there. I know every club has at least 3 lawyers. Yeah. Remember, follow us. By listen to what he says first of all, but also follow us on Instagram, like our Facebook page, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm Jimmy Mutofio.
And I'm Nara Kamuya.
See you in episode 65.
And you need to listen to me.